these are in there. You know, I guess it's really a question for you to ask DFL Senate Majority Leader Bach or Speaker Dowd, who were the ones who were involved in making these decisions.
The lady from Hennepin, Chairman Chesky.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, with all due respect to Chair Knobloch, I have to correct that. These are absolutely tax increases. There's no other way to describe them. Members, if you want to get the spreadsheet, they raise revenue. If they're tax cuts, there's a minus. If they don't do anything, they're zero. It's a tax increase. You have a $30.5 million tax increase in the first biennium. And members, I'm very aware of these provisions, and I want to correct what was said about that. I know Chair Davids is up there, so he can't. So the one provision that was said that was in the Omnibus House tax bill, that it was not. The clarification language for the working family tax credit in TANF that was actually a non-money item. That was a piece of, it was a letter signed actually by Chair Skoy and I last year, last November, and the confirmation, the clarification language is carried by Chair Davids in his omnibus tax bill, but that provision did nothing. There's a no cost. What Chair Knobloch is talking about it's not a double dip, but it is true that it's non-Minnesotans, and it was proposed by the governor, and the House did not accept it. Why? Because it was a tax increase. So now here it is in the K-12 bill. And I'm not saying that the House and Senate would have never agreed it, but it certainly should have happened in the tax bill, not in the K-12 bill. But if anybody thinks that because it's on somebody who doesn't live in Minnesota, it's not a tax increase, the House tax bill members, the commercial industrial property tax provision that costs $1 billion a year, $2 billion for that one provision, hundreds of millions of dollars of that tax cut went to non-Minnesotans. So if we're now going to have a different standard for tax cuts and tax increases, I mean, then your tax cuts weren't real, because hundreds of millions of dollars of those tax cuts in that bill went to people who didn't live in Minnesota. Now, it didn't become law, but now over here we had tax cuts in the hundreds of millions of dollars to non-Minnesotans in the House tax bill, and we have a tax increase to the people who are non-Minnesotans who happen to get the working family credit. So, that's neither here nor there. I guess people can have an opinion about this, but this isn't the omnibus tax bill, it's the K-12 bill, and there are tax increases in it. So, I think the thing that members should be more concerned about is the larger tax increase that all your constituents pay when they pay the sales tax. And so unless you aren't represented by a local unit of government,